Welcome to the show, sports fans. This is the Treasure Valley Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome in. Another edition of the Treasure Valley Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com, breaking down District 3 athletics week in, week out in the state of Idaho. Brandon Baney, as always, joined by Logan Green. Bit of hostile territory this week, Logan.
Oh, it just got to stretch real quick. Oh, man, I forgot I needed this for some reason. I'll just keep it right here. Oh, sorry. Brandon's pretty rude of me. I'm going to stop. I forgot your team just couldn't get it done. So I forget sometimes. My bad.
So
My bad.
For those that may be watching the video version of this podcast on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel or Facebook page, you will see that Logan Green is regaled.
It's a little cold in here. It's a little chilly.
Oh, that is obnoxious at best. Logan is wearing all of his Idaho Vandals swag, hat, hoodie, blanket, because Logan is a proud alumnus of Idaho, the University of Idaho, proud Vandal supporter. I, of course, grew up as a season ticket holder of the Montana Grizzlies, and Idaho went and into Missoula, defeated Montana last week for the first time since, the 90s?
Yeah, I think it was 99. It's been a long time.
They got back control of the little brown Stein, which is what they play for.
Yeah, it was fun. I kind of wish I had went. Like, I had debated it, but it looked like it was a beautiful day in Missoula for it. And I haven't been to a game there, and I really would like to. Everybody talks it up like it's awesome. So, I mean, probably nothing like the Kibbe Dome. I mean, there's nothing like the Dome, but, I'm sure it's okay up there at Washington Grizz. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Logan, you have to go. Put it on your bucket list because there are more tailgates than you know what to do with. It is a party on Grizz game day Saturdays. You will not walk away hungry. I'll say that.
We should have went, Brandon. We should have went on Saturday. We'll have to wait for 2 years for the rematch. That's up there. So.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan for sure. So, yes, the Idaho Vandals representing well, getting a win. And the state of Idaho in high school athletics is barreling down the track, full speed ahead, right? We've got state soccer this week. Last night on IdahoSports.com, Christian Wiener and I did our live state soccer tournament preview show. That is in your podcast feed, so you can listen to that. And so we won't talk any soccer on the Prepcast today. We covered that for 90 minutes last night on IdahoSports.com. I will say that Fruitland girls got the 5 seed overall. They're in a rough spot. They're on the same side of the bracket as Coeur d'Alene Charter, but very excited to watch Fruitland compete, and all the other boys and girls soccer teams from District 3 that'll be representing. Hopefully next week we can talk about a few state champions here on the Prepcast.
Yeah, you got to think we will, just with some of the firepower that's over here, that we should have at least one come back with some hardware.
I mean, Boise girls, Caldwell boys, there's no shortage of quality soccer teams for sure.
Yep.
It is postseason volleyball time as well. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. So those of you that are watching the video version of this Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, you can see these district volleyball brackets as we put them up on the screen, and you can follow along. Maybe make your screen full size so it's a little easier to see. If you're listening audio only at IdahoSports.com or wherever you download your podcast, that's all right. We've got all the district volleyball brackets on the homepage at IdahoSports.com as well. And by the way, our homepage, what you see at the top is great, but there's more good stuff if you scroll down. Like there's, if you scroll down even just a little, you're going to see all sorts of great content. So, the homepage, what you see right away is not always everything that we have to offer. You can scroll down, and that's where the district volleyball brackets are. So you can follow along that way if you are listening to the audio only version of this podcast. Let's go ahead and start with the 1A D2 district volleyball tournament. This is the Long Pin Conference, Logan. We're recording this on Wednesday, October 19th. This district tournament actually starts today. It's going to be at McCall High School, neutral site. Horseshoe Bend, the number 1 overall seed. No surprises there. Council took second, Tri-Valley third. And then, so what we've got today is the play-in match between 4 and 5, Garden Valley and Cascade. The winner of that will play Horseshoe Bend, and then Council and Tri-Valley will play in a semifinal as well. But really, to me, it's Horseshoe Bend and Council.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, you saw it last year, and that the conference is so deep that, I mean, Tri-Valley was a state champ, 2 years ago, or the year before last, they won it, and then Horseshoe Bend does, and Tri-Valley is still a good team, but sitting at third, and that just shows you how deep the conference is right now.
Yeah, it really is a shame only 2 teams get to go. So, Tri-Valley they have their work cut out for them, but I would say Horseshoe Bend and Council are definitely the 1 and 2 favorites in this district tournament, and we'll be able to update you on what happened there next week here on the Prepcast. I'm going to save D1 just because I'm waiting to hear back on a couple of results. And so, yeah, some of these brackets won't be all the way completely filled out because, we've been having a tough time finding all these district volleyball scores. There's a lot of matches. And even, if this team wins, then they turn around and play right away again. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but we've got these brackets updated with as much information as possible. I've got some emails out to some coaches to try and get those missing scores. So that's the D2 bracket. Let's look at the 2A. Last night, you had the district championship match at Northwest Nazarene University. Melba sweeps Coal Valley Christian. So the Mustangs are your district champs headed to state. Coal Valley Christian, via the second place finish, also gets to go to state. And then on the other side of the bracket, Nampa Christian beat Ambrose last night 3-0. And so Nampa Christian now takes third, and they will advance to a state play-in match against the second place team from up north. We're thinking that's probably going to be Kellogg. That's not officially set in stone yet, but Nampa Christian will also have a chance to play their way in.
Yeah, and they're going to have a good shot at it, I think, just because you look who you play all year long. That you deal with the Coal Valleys and the Melbas all season long, and that propels you when it comes to postseason time with who you've played, and it could be a good fall for Melba.
I think so. I was trying to look real quick because the way the tournament gets seeded is based on your regular season Max Preps ranking. So as teams start to win, you can already start to kind of slot them in, and Melba will be the number 1 overall seed at the 2A state volleyball tournament, thanks to their undefeated regular season. So the Mustangs going to be target number 1 for everybody at state next week. Should be pretty exciting.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, you look on the football side of things too, and you like where Melba is there. It could be, it's a good time to be a Mustang fan, I guess, overall, right? Because the Horseshoe Bend is also the Mustangs, and they're looking good. So Treasure Valley Mustangs have got it going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. And Melba, of course, has all these great athletes that they seem to play volleyball, basketball,
everything,
and track, right? And they're so good at all of those sports year in, year out, for sure. So yes, Melba, Coal Valley Christian is probably going to be a lower seeded team at state. In fact, in the regular season Max Preps rankings, Nampa Christian actually finished ahead of Coal Valley Christian, believe it or not. So yeah. I'm killing time here, Logan, because I just got the 1A D1 District 3 volleyball results. And so I was filling in the bracket while I was, So
this is breaking news.
Yes. First of all, let me give a shout out to Joe Holloway. She is the athletic director at Centennial Baptist, and she was the tournament director for this Western Idaho Conference District Tournament. She has been so awesome to work with. She gets me the results every night, the updated bracket, all of the scores. And because this is an 11-team juggernaut, right? There's a lot of stuff to manage, and yet she still takes the time to reach out to us in the media as well to make sure we're promoting the sport of volleyball. So, that's a tournament director who's doing it right. And so Joe Holloway at Centennial Baptist, thank you so much. So here's what we got, Logan. District championship was last night, 1 versus 2. Liberty Charter, the 2 seed, sweeps Rimrock.
Wow.
So Liberty Charter wins districts. Rimrock, as the second place team, also advances to state. And then over here in the consolation match last night, you had 4 versus 5. Victory Charter sweeps Wilder 3-0. So Victory Charter now advances up here to this state play-in match. where they will play. I will admit this is going to be a very tough matchup. They're going to play the district champion from 5-6. Butte County was the best team in that league all year, and then they lost to Grace last night, 3-1. So either way, whether it's Grace, whether it's Butte County, it is a district champion that you are having to go through to get that third slot at state. It's going to be a tough road for Victory Charter, but we'll see if the Vipers can pull it off.
They've had their backs against the walls since day one for a week now, right? They lost that opening round game against Wilder, and then had to win 3 in a row to stay alive, and they did it against, they beat one team that was, ranked higher than them in Idaho City, and then Wilder, who was right there with them. And so, hey, you never know when a team's been like that, right? When they've had their back against the wall all week, they're going to go into that game having been there, done that on Saturday.
Yeah, I will say that almost assuredly, Rimrock, Liberty Charter, and Victory Charter, if they were to advance, would be the 6, 7, and 8 seeds based on the Max Preps rankings, just because the White Pine League and District 4 were so top heavy with quality teams this year. The Max Preps ratings kind of elevated all those teams.
Mm-hmm.
So your District 3 teams are going to be the lower seeded teams at state for 1A D1. Let's skip 3A because I'm still waiting to hear back on those results. Let's go to 4A volleyball, where the matchups are set tonight. The district championship will be number 1 Skyview against number 2 Columbia. On the back end, you've got number 4 Ridgeview against number 3 Bishop Kelly. Only the district champion is guaranteed a spot at state, Logan. The loser would then drop into Ridgeview's not there. I don't want to manifest a Ridgeview win over Bishop Kelly before it actually happens. So the loser of this district championship would play down here against the winner of this contest Thursday night for that second spot to go to state. So District 3 gets 2 teams to state, but only the district champion will know tonight whether they're advancing. And, we like Skyview, right? They're kind of the preeminent team. It's probably going to be Columbia battling either Bishop Kelly or Ridgeview for that second spot.
Yeah, and they won that, that game over Bishop Kelly. Columbia did 3-0, so in the semifinals to say, and so you got to like Columbia. But hey, you never know. But I mean, I'd be shocked if it's not Skyview, right? They are just out of this world good, and probably going to see Columbia advance too. But again, we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow night in that one.
Definitely. That should be pretty fun. Let's go to 5A, where Logan, there's been some crazy stuff that's happened here. I will give the shout out. EBC Media has been doing a pretty good job of covering district volleyball, especially this 5A tournament. So Mountain View, the 6th seed in the opening round. So in the opening round on the top half of the bracket, Chalk, Eagle, Timberline, both advanced. Down here on the bottom half is where things got kind of crazy, right? First of all, Boise, the 7 seed, knocks out Rocky, the 2 seed, in a 5-set thriller, 3-2. And then Mountain View, the 6 seed, had defeated Owyhee 3-1. But then it was discovered that Mountain View had used a player in that match against Owyhee that had also participated in the JV district tournament the week prior, which is against the rules. And so Mountain View had to forfeit that match to Owyhee. So it set up Owyhee against Boise in one semifinal. Owyhee wins 3-1. Eagle sweeps Timberline in the other one. So it's Eagle and Owyhee for the district championship tonight. Both those teams move on to state. And then on the back half, then you had Centennial defeat Meridian last night, 3-0. And then how about this? Rocky fighting for their lives against Mountain View. The Mavericks get the win 3-1. So Rocky, the 2 seed, goes 2-out.
Yeah, that stinks. There's no other way to put it. It just stinks for a team to do so well all year long. And this is one thing that I think this is a killer about district tournaments. They set up very much like college basketball for mid-majors, right? Doesn't matter how great you do in the regular season. If you come in and you for a sport like volleyball, where it's predetermined, and the same thing for basketball, where those seeds are there, and there's no at-large bid. Football has done a little bit better, but there's not district tournaments like you got here. It's just a tough way to end your season if you're Rocky or for Rocky Mountain in the volleyball tournament.
Yeah, it is a bummer for sure. So now here's what's at stake. We've got a Waihe and Eagle in the district championship. The winner of that, I guess it's not quite finished yet. So this is going to be chaotic, Logan. Eagle and Waihe play tonight. The winner moves here. The loser drops down here to play whoever wins over here in this matchup. So let's this is a lot to let's go in chronological order in terms of time tonight. Tonight at 4:00, this is all happening at Mountain View. You will have Centennial against Boise in a loser out contest. You will have Timberline and Mountain View in a loser out contest. And really, we say loser out, but really the losers of these two games will advance to state play-in matches. In fact, they'll play on Thursday. So these two winners will match up here at 6:00 tonight. The winner of that advances down here to the third place match. The loser takes fourth place and automatically gets to go to state. Concurrently tonight at 6:00 as well, you will have Eagle and Waihe. The winner will move on here. So Eagle and Waihe have clinched spots at state already. I guess I don't know why we have to do all of this, because
it looks like it's just a seeding issue, right? It looks unnecessary, especially if you're in.
Yes.
Right? Is the volleyball bracket set up with the predetermined seeding?
Yes.
Or so then it's set, then they're just playing for state bracket spots essentially.
But I mean, not even that, because it's based on your regular season Max Preps rankings. So it
doesn't matter.
Eagle is the 5 seed. It doesn't matter if they win this or lose this or where they finish. They're still going to be 5. Like, so
if you play at 6:00 tonight, nothing else matters after that until next Thursday, really.
Correct. And so
at the end of the day, I mean, you want to win your district tournament, right? But at the end of the day, if you're playing tonight at 6, you're playing next Thursday as well at state.
Yes, that's probably the simplest way to describe that, because I'm getting a headache just looking at this. So yes, Eagle and Waihe are in for sure. And some combination of either Centennial or Boise will get an automatic spot tonight, and Timberline and Mountain View, same thing. But like I said, even the losers of these two matches here will advance to state play-in matches. One will take on the second place team from up north, which will probably be Lake City. You know, Post Falls beat Lake City last night in that district championship. And then the other one will get to play the second place team from District 5-6, which could be Highland, could be Thunder Ridge. We'll have to wait and see. So District 3 could get as many as 6 teams in. They could get as few as 4. And this is what we saw with soccer this year as well. So clear as mud, right, Logan?
Yeah, clear as mud. We'll know next week, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's take a look. I can't hold off any longer with this District 3 bracket. I can tell you that the championship is tomorrow night. It's 1 versus 2, Weiser against Fruitland. That match will be in Fruitland. You're seeing me update the brackets in real time. This is real fun stuff. Either way, these two teams have qualified for state. On the back end, McCall Donnelly beat Homedale last night 3-0. They play either Payette or Parma. We didn't get a score there. I assume it's Parma. I don't ever want to assume anything, though. But either way, McCall Donnelly will have a chance to play for third place and a chance to go to state via the play-in game down here. So congrats to Fruitland and Weiser, both qualifying for state, playing for the district title tonight. That should be pretty exciting.
Yeah. You're in. I guess that takes off a lot of pressure, right? At the end of the day, doesn't matter what happens tonight. At least you get to go to state no matter what, but you still want to go into state on a hot streak. So congrats to them. And Fruitland sends another team to the state tournament, right? So you got girls soccer there, and now you got volleyball there. They're having a great fall over in Fruitland this year.
Yeah, boy, it's been a great renaissance for Fruitland. I say renaissance like they dropped off a cliff, which didn't happen, but the continuing their strong traditions for sure. So, okay, that's district volleyball. And again, next week, we're going to try and put together a live state volleyball tournament preview show. So stay tuned for details on that. let's talk football, Logan. Let's get to it. There's a lot to talk about here in the last week of the season. I figure the easiest way to do it is to just start at 5A and work our way down. At the 5A level, we've got our SIC cross-divisional matchups. Again, the two first-place teams from each of the two divisions, Rivers and Foothills, will play each other. And then second-place team will play the fifth-place team from the opposite division, and third and fourth place from opposite divisions will play, along with the sixth-place teams from each division. So basically what it looks like is the SIC championship, which we're going to be broadcasting on IdahoSports.com. Meridian will host Eagle. Those are the two division champs. You've got the number 2 from the Foothills, Rocky Mountain, hosting 5 from the River, Bora. Nampa, the River 2, will host Centennial, the Foothills 5. Middleton, the Foothills 3, will host Cuna, the River 4. And Mountain View, the River 3, will host Capital, the Foothills 4. So these are 4 games with playoff spots on the line, Logan. The winner will automatically get a playoff spot. Bora at Rocky Mountain, Centennial at Nampa, Cuna at Middleton, Capital at Mountain View. I like all the home teams here.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty clear, and I think that's the way it was set up to be. It's really funny. I mean, people are trying to put these together. I dropped my kids off at school this morning, and the principal stopped me in the drop-off line and said, "What happens if we lose? What happens if we win?" You know, they're already thinking about where people are going to go and what's going to happen. But you know what? I like I said, I think the home teams win this weekend pretty easily. I mean, I don't want to say that with any angst against the lower seeded teams. I just think that's just what we've seen in the regular season. Just with what has happened so far, I think those teams win. And then I think they end up all playing each other in the first round if that happens.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. If all the home teams win, this is how the seeding will go. Rocky Mountain will get the 3 seed from the West. The 4 seed will go to Nampa. Middleton will get the 5 seed, and Mountain View would get the 6 seed. So that would set up, how about this? Mountain View at Rocky Mountain in the opening round of the playoffs, one of the best rivalries in the state. And then you would have Middleton at Nampa in a rematch of a pretty good game from earlier in the season where Middleton only won by 2, right?
And those two have played very close for the past 4 or 5 years. I mean, Nampa beat Middleton a couple years ago in the state playoffs on like a 45-yard field goal as time expired in that one at Middleton. So there's some history there. And, you know, those are the 2 teams that now just moved up, right, from 4A, and look where they find themselves. Home games in that crossover weekend with a chance. One of them is going to host a home game, right, in the playoffs, most likely here, Middleton or Nampa. So congrats to both of those schools for getting it done their first year. But both of those, I think, would be fun games. I think that Middleton-Nampa game would be very entertaining. It's looking like that's the way it's trending for a first-round game.
Yeah. And now let's talk about the 6th place game where Owyhee, the 6th place team from the River, plays a winless Timberline team, the 6th place team from the Foothills division. Boise, because there's 13 teams, Boise officially took 7th in the River division. They're actually playing Valley View in a non-conference matchup this week. But Owyhee gets a layup essentially against a winless Timberline team. And with that win, that would put Owyhee in position to claim an at-large bid into the playoffs. There's 2 at-large bids to the 5A playoffs. It is based upon your winning percentage against 5A opponents and out-of-state opponents with a 5A enrollment. And Owyhee, if they can get this win over Timberline on Friday, would be 5-4 against 5A opponents, and that would put them into the playoffs. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I know. You look at it and you think, man, 5A SIC working the system here. And that's kind of, you know, because by virtue, they don't have to play out of state in Eastern Idaho. They have to play a lot of 4A teams just because there's not a ton. And so when they go out of conference, they go to Skyline, or, you know, Madison played Idaho Falls this year. I think they played Blackfoot. So Madison, you look down and they have a lot of wins, but they have been against 4A teams. But at the same time, Owyhee beat Madison week 1. So you look at that and say, maybe if that's flipped and Madison had beaten Owyhee, does that flip the numbers there? I'd have to look at it more, but I mean, Owyhee at the end of the day is looking like they're going to be there, as crazy as that is.
Yeah, and again, this is not a knock on Owyhee. It's a knock on the system where Owyhee basically gets rewarded for finishing in 6th, lower than, Bora, for example, who finished ahead of them in 5th place in that division, and even CUNA, right? Because now you're talking about CUNA, and they did lose to Owyhee head-to-head, but CUNA is a team now that's probably not going to make the playoffs. They essentially need to win at Middleton on Friday to get into the playoffs. And so for the Cavemen, tall order. And Owyhee basically kind of gets, no game is easy, but, facing a winless opponent, I'd rather do that than take on a team that's going to be in the playoffs. And so,
yeah, I think they should be okay.
Yes,
they should.
Now, more than likely,
Timberline struggled.
Definitely. More than likely, the second auto bid is going to go to Bora, even with a loss. Because Bora's got to play, one of those cross-divisional play-in games, right? They got to play Rocky Mountain, tall order to go beat the Grizzlies. But even with a loss, Bora can get that second at-large bid, provided that Rigby beats Madison. If Madison beats Rigby, then Rigby gets that last at-large slot ahead of Bora. But if Bora loses, and certainly if they win, of course, they're in automatically. But if Bora loses and Rigby defeats Madison, then Bora gets that last playoff spot. So Bora is going to be, of course, Bora fans, but they're also going to be Rigby fans on Friday night.
Right. Because I believe, if I'm right, Brandon, Bora has 4 5A wins. And I think Madison only has 3. I know they beat Thunder Ridge, but outside of that, do they have a 5A win, Madison?
Madison has 2. They beat Thunder Ridge and they beat Tooele, Utah.
But outside of that, they only have 2 5A wins. It's going to be, there's almost no way, looking at it right now, that Madison is in an at-large capacity.
No, and same with Coeur d'Alene up north. They only have 1 5A win, and Lewiston only has 2 5A wins.
So it's pretty set that the 5A SIC is more than likely going to grab those at-larges, unless, like you said, an upset happens between Rigby and Madison.
And I only explore that possibility because it happened last year. Madison upset Rigby. So I'm just throwing it out there, but there's a very good chance we see Bora and Owyhee in the 4A postseason. So when you look at the SIC championship match real quick, we'll talk about that. Meridian beat Eagle pretty convincingly early on this season. What's at stake? Well, the winner gets basically a spot on the bottom half of the bracket. And then the winner would get a spot on the top half of the bracket. So the winner of the SIC championship would be on the same side as Highland, the champion from the East. The loser of that SIC championship would be on the top of the bracket, with Post Falls, the champ from the North. I'm not sure that matters too much in the grand scheme of things, but that's kind of what's at stake. The winner gets to be with Highland. The loser is with Post Falls, essentially, on the bracket.
Yeah,
there.
Both those teams tough.
Yes, for sure. 4A, Bishop Kelly clinched the title last week. Emmett has officially clinched 2nd place. Valley View is in pretty comfortably as an at-large team. And then Skyview, for the moment, is in as an at-large team. But really, there's this fight between Skyview, Canyon Ridge, and Idaho Falls. 3 teams fighting for 2 spots, essentially. Right now, it's Skyview and Canyon Ridge ahead of Idaho Falls. But Idaho Falls has a game this week against Hillcrest. And if they win that would, I think, shoot them ahead of those other teams in the Max Preps ratings. So Skyview is kind of sitting back and kind of waiting to see what happens here. They play Bishop Kelly. Obviously, if Skyview beat Bishop Kelly, that would catapult them into the playoffs. But Skyview is going to be right there. It's going to be right down to the final. And all of these teams, Skyview, Canyon Ridge, Idaho Falls, they all are Pocatello fans this week, because Pocatello plays Century for the District 5 championship. Century cannot make it as an at-large. There's just no way. But if Century wins over Pocatello and gets that auto bid, that knocks another team out where Century wouldn't have been in otherwise. So they've got to cheer for Pocatello. And if you're Skyview, you have to also cheer for Idaho Falls to lose. Canyon Ridge is playing Burley. And so I guess they would also be cheering for Burley in that scenario. So
right.
That's what's at stake there. But right now, Bishop Kelly would be the number 1 overall seed. I don't see that changing. Emmett, as an auto qualifier, would be the 5 seed, which is a pretty good spot to be in. Right now, our projections have Bishop Kelly hosting Canyon Ridge in the opening round of the playoffs. Emmett would host Hillcrest. Valley View right now slotted in as the number 13 seed. They would be traveling to Sandpoint, the 4. This sounds familiar. Valley View, a 3 seed. Traveling to a 4 seed and getting a I think they were
that's not what Sandpoint wants to see in their rearview mirror. Seeing Valley View, the known upsetters of big giants at the state playoffs.
That's right. And then Skyview right now would be in as the number 15 seed. They would be at the defending champions from Skyline, the 2 seed overall there. 3A is it's pretty much a done deal, Logan. Homedale won the district. Fruitland and Weiser play Friday night for 2nd and 3rd, but both of those teams get in via auto bids. And McCall Donnelly pretty much has the final at-large playoff spot wrapped up as well. Payette's kind of hanging around there, but I just don't think they can make up enough ground. So it looks like 4 teams from District 3 are going to get in. Homedale right now is the number 2 seed overall, which means they get a first-round bye. If Sugar Salem were to lose on Friday, Homedale would jump to the number 1 overall seed. And otherwise, in our projections, Weiser would have a home playoff game, and Fruitland and McCall Donnelly would both have to hit the road. But winnable games. Fruitland would be at Snake River, the District 5 champ, and McCall Donnelly would be at Bonners Ferry, the District 1 champ. I think those are both winnable games.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that. And I think they played tough schedules all year long, and that they would have a chance in those matchups. Should be fun to see. Hopefully we can get to as many places as we can next week so you can see it, especially for those long drives. McCall Donnelly going to Bonners Ferry, that's not a short drive. And then Fruitland making the trip over to Snake River, again, not a short drive either.
No, definitely not. 2A football. Melba officially hasn't clinched yet. They've pretty much got it wrapped up, but it's not official yet. Melba finishes the season with Nampa Christian. And if Melba were to lose there, it could create this 3-way tie between Nampa Christian, Melba, and Cole Valley Christian. And right now, I think Nampa Christian need to win against Melba, and then they need to be on the right side of the tiebreaker to finish either first or second. I don't think Nampa Christian has a strong enough Max Preps rating to get an at-large bid. That could change with a win over Melba. It's hard for me to calculate how much a win like that would vault a team ahead because there's no rhyme or reason to the formula. So,
right.
I mean, Nampa Christian has to beat Melba to start, and then they have to hope to be on the right side of the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah, I think no matter what, they have to win to even get in the conversation. And like you said, even then, does it put them there? Who knows? Guess we'll find out and see how it actually shakes out.
I've been emailing Mike Laclama from the Idaho Statesman, kind of hammering down some of these tiebreaker scenarios in District 3. Here's what he said. He said Melba is the Western Idaho Conference champ with a win or a loss by 13 points or less, along with a Cole Valley win. So Cole Valley this week plays New Plymouth. The Pilgrims have kind of run into a wall a little bit. We kind of like Cole Valley there. So Melba, even with a loss to Nampa Christian, as long as it's not by, more than 14 points or more than 13 points, would get it on the point differential tiebreaker. Michael did say that should Nampa Christian win by 14 or more and Cole Valley also wins, we could be headed toward a coin flip. He said, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Oh yeah, no, that would not be fun. I hate that.
That would not. What a crappy way. This isn't Friday night. It was cool when we watched Friday Night Lights, the movie, and they met at the little diner, and did the coin flip, but that's not a good way to decide things.
Yeah,
at least,
can we broadcast the coin flip at the diner if it happens?
right? You're just looking for a free meal, Logan. I know you.
I will not. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm always looking for a free meal.
Yeah. So that's what's happening at the 2A level. 1A D1. Oh my gosh, Idaho City with the win of the year. They beat Rimrock last Friday, and now Idaho City is in position to grab that second auto bid from District 3. Notice firmly in command. They've got the point differential. They would have to get blown out by Rimrock to lose the district title at this point. Rimrock needs to beat Notice just to try and force a three-way tie with Idaho City, Rimrock, and Notice. But man, it's sure looking like Notice and Idaho City are going to be your two representatives.
Yeah, that did not see that one coming. I thought Rimrock would be able to take care of business against Idaho City, but they didn't, clearly, and now Idaho City has that inside track to get into state this year. So a huge win. I mean, you get a nice trip to Cary, more than likely, if you get that. So I don't know if that is a win at the end of the day, but you made it to state, and that's all that matters, right? If you get in, you never know.
That's right. And then 1A D2, Logan, this is pretty simple as well. Horseshoe Bend beat Tri-Valley last week in that game that essentially decided the third and final auto bid. Council also beat Garden Valley in the game that decided the district title. So Council gets the 1 seed. They get a first round bye. They will play the winner, more than likely, of Castle Ford and Clark Fork. Not more than likely, that is the matchup. Castle Ford at Clark Fork, that's officially locked in, and Council will host the winner of that game. We're probably thinking Castle Ford there, if we're being honest. Garden Valley, as the second seed out of District 3, will travel to whoever wins the Timberline Lewis County game Friday night up north. Either way, pack your bags. You're making a trip north to either Weippe or Nez Perce or Highland or somewhere up there in District 2. And then Horseshoe Bend right now is locked in as the 3 seed. It's not official yet, though, because Horseshoe Bend plays Meadows Valley. And if the Mustangs were to lose and Tri-Valley were to defeat Council, we're talking, if we're being honest, this is in the 2% threshold of happening, but it could. If Horseshoe Bend loses to Meadow Valley and Tri-Valley beats Council, then Tri-Valley gets that third playoff spot.
Right. And you know what? I really thought Garden Valley was going to beat Council, and I'll eat crow on that one. I was wrong. And Council looked really good, wins that game. But, man, Garden Valley, again, we mentioned it last week. They didn't win that, but they avoid the side of the bracket with Kendrick. So, you know what? It's not the worst thing to happen, right? And you know what? You go and you're going to, if you win that first game, which I think Garden Valley would have a good shot at Lewis County, you got to go up north to play Mullen St. Regis, which would be a tough one. But again, I'd rather play them than Kendrick.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's what's at stake here for football coverage. We're going to have that SIC championship game for you on IdahoSports.com Friday night. We will also be bringing you Middleton's cross-divisional matchup with CUNA. So that's going to be a fantastic battle as well. And I'm trying to remember, Logan, is Emmett on the schedule this week for us? Is Emmett at home? See, this is bad show prep. I should have looked this up ahead of time. If you want to see what games we're broadcasting, by the way, just click on the game streams tab on the homepage at IdahoSports.com, and it'll show you everything that we've got lined up this week. It looks like Eagle Meridian, CUNA, Middleton is what we've got for you this week here on
and then just check the schedule. Obviously, this weekend, maybe Monday morning, for playoffs, we're going to be wherever we can be next week.
Yes.
So,
stay tuned.
It's going to be wild and maybe not put together till Thursday, at the end of the day, but we're hoping to be everywhere that we can. Obviously, there's going to be 30 games probably next weekend, so we can't be everywhere, but definitely wherever we can be. There's a lot of games on Idaho Sports this weekend that will affect seeding, right? So even if your team is not on Idaho Sports, for 4A, there's a big game between Shelley and Skyline that's going to determine some seeding, if who wins that game. So that is of information to Bishop Kelly fans, to Emmett fans. So you know what, just tune into that one here and there, see what's going on. So there's definitely some other games around the state that do matter to our teams here, but not indirectly, so to say.
Certainly. So we'll sit back and watch it all unfold. And friendly reminder, Friday night, if you want to break down what happened in real time and get our raw reaction of what happened, head to the IdahoSports.com Twitter account. We're going to have a Twitter Spaces Friday night from 10:30 to 11:30. Kind of like an overtime show, right? Hey, we got done calling all these games tonight. We're getting the scores coming in. What's our instant reaction to what's happening? And I'll probably be able to fill in that playoff bracket a little bit on Friday night.
Yeah, it'll be kind of fun. I'm excited. It was pretty fun last week. And we didn't really promote it much. So hopefully we can put something out there and get more people on. Because, Brandon, if you're spitting out where people are going to be at state immediately after, that'll be fun to hear, like, in real time. So,
yes.
Hop into that. And I won't be in the car with Paul, so I won't have to be, like, covering my mic so that it'll be fun.
Yeah, and my game is in Pocatello as opposed to Sugar City, so I'll be able to get home a little more quickly Friday night as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so Friday night, 10:30, 11:30, Twitter Spaces with the IdahoSports.com Twitter account. Check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, enjoy the competitions, everybody. District volleyball, state soccer, football, final week of the regular season as well. And district cross country taking place this week also. So a lot of stuff going on. Enjoy the competitions this weekend, everybody. And we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Treasure Valley Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.